like to welcome you to the seminar, Express Yourself and Go. This is a seminar on how to break out and how to expand your horizons. I give this as part of my company, DKA Strategic Planning. Part of the topics are break out and go, overcoming thou shalt not, moving beyond anxiety to live a life without fear, and continuing to move on and forward. My company specializes in publishing, management services, as well as consulting services. The long-term goal is to live without fear, to move outside your comfort zone, and continuing to move on and forward. What does it mean to live without fear? It means basically doing things that you wish to do and you don't talk yourself out and let others talk yourself out. To break out of your comfort zone, it means that you want to try something new and you're not willing to compromise. And the best thing is you get over the anxiety of trying to do something that's outside your comfort zone. When you do that, you'll achieve greater success. Continuing to move on and forward means that as you are working on something, others will try to stop you or try to discourage you. This is a test. To pass this test, you need to know that what you're doing is good and have confidence in yourself, as others will have confidence in you. Some of the wishes that people have include, I wish I could. Example, moving all fear. Thou shalt not, fighting a dragon. I don't have, looking too far past the headlights. Or thoughts, comments that hold us back, like Shut Up and Sing, which was told to the Dixie Chicks, and they wrote a song, I know, not trying to be nice, and ha ha ha, mean people control. In moving out of fear, when you say you wish you could, that's a good thing, but the thing is you need to follow through. You need to say, basically, I wish I could, and I know I can. And focus your mind and your time, money, and resources to do it. Don't let money stop you. There's always other ways how to do things. You don't need direct money to do everything, but you do need help of friends and others. Thou shalt not. Those are things that people use to control people. It's important that when you do things, that you do it in a way that basically what you want to do. Not what someone's trying to control you to do or someone's telling you to do. Someone who loves you, who expresses something, that's a good thing. But other people, no. Try to do what you wish. I don't have the whatever. Remember, you don't have to have everything all planned out all at once, as Bob Proctor mentioned in The Secret, and mentioned in other references in The Secret. A common metaphor is that the first trip across the United States by car was done by someone who just had headlights just to see so far ahead. And that's how you do your planning. You see so far ahead. If you look too far ahead, you can discourage yourself. When you start going, some comments people try to do to hold you back. For example, like the Dixie Chicks, when they gave a speech and someone threatened them and said, shut up and sing. That didn't stop them. They came up with a good response and an inspirational response, which I'll talk about later. Or ha 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 when people fail. The thing is, anything you try, you're gonna have success and you're gonna have failure. But the thing is, what happens when you try something new, you will fail. Basically, many inventors, Thomas Edison and others, realized, and other philosophers throughout the centuries realized, when you try something, you're gonna fail the first time, and maybe a few times. But basically, you learn something, and each time you learn, you'll succeed greater than if you never attempted it at all. The next part is fulfilling your needs and goals. What are your attitudes? Some common attitudes always remember is you're unique. You're sentient. You can achieve anything you put your mind into and spirit to. Your most valuable asset is trust. Just think of this. You're unique. There's only one you. In DNA, there's only one you, unless you're an identical twin. But even if you're identical twin, your mind makes you unique in your spirit. You're sentient. Well, you think about things, you perceive, you evaluate. That's a natural part. That's a natural part of living, natural part of survival, natural part of growth. You can achieve anything you put your mind and body to, and that's been true throughout time. No matter what the technology was, what our culture was, there's always been a way to succeed and grow, and you can do this basically honestly, ethically, and on a positive basis. And the most valuable asset to succeeding is trust. It is important to have the trust of others. The trust of others helps you do things that you can't do yourself. And other things, when you're working with others, the trust of others helps you understand and helps others that you can succeed. For example, because sometimes you may not be able to explain your reasoning then and there. Trust is the thing, well, okay, I've worked with you in the past, I know you've done this, and I'll do this, and hopefully you'll explain to me later. And that can help you overcome a crisis situation. Even in the military, trust is important. The most common episode of Star Trek was the one with M5, where basically the ship was commandeered, and what happens, the captain was about to get attacked. How could he tell the other captain that basically he had taken the ship? Well, he had limited resources. He couldn't communicate. He could turn down the shields. He could turn down the offensive systems. So what did he do? He turned down the shields. Well, what happens? At first, the captain was going to follow orders, but then he's ordered to break off the attack. Later, why? Because basically, he knew the person behind as captain of the ship and trusted his intentions, that basically when he took down the shields, that he meant that he took down the shields. And that's an example of trust that you build as you work with people. People will realize in other situations that they can help you in that, and also they will help you in things when you can't communicate well or don't have the resources. To begin, to express yourself and grow, let's start. Some metaphors and short stories from the original ebook. Dreams in real life, casual day, two friends visit different time and space and gender of tints and hues and flowers, Dixie Chicks, Taylor Swift, Shania Twain, Bob Proctor, Joseph Campbell. Other stories. Dreams in real life talks about a dream, about how when you're waking out and expressing yourself, it starts with a dream. With me, it started with a dream in '93 when I worked in medical research. There's more that I wanted to do, and I realized that there's more that I could do. Casual day is a vision as to what do you wish to do? How do you wish to do things when you can express yourself and grow? Two friends visit different time, space, and gender. It talks about what are our common perceptions and feelings if we were to go to a different area with a friend, and what things are common, what things are different, and what about the people we meet? Of tints and hues and flowers, as it talks about, well, what is neat? What about thinking non-literally, basically thinking artistically, thinking visually, with colors, sensation? How does that help? And what does that do to expand your interpersonal relationships? The speakers I would like to mention are Dixie Chicks, Taylor Swift, Shania Twain, Bob Proctor, and Joseph Campbell. The three speakers, Dixie Chicks, Taylor Swift, and Shania Twain, all had wonderful songs and overcame challenges with some of the songs when they were challenged by critics. Bob Proctor and Joseph Campbell both use synergy of each other to develop philosophies to help grow spiritually and mythologically. Well, let's begin with Bob Proctor. Bob Proctor, in a YouTube video, The Ultimate Secret Beyond the Law of Attraction. If you go to YouTube, it's V equals LOVP, capital B, lowercase gg, 5, capital B, lowercase a, capital A, lowercase s, capital A. Overcoming fear and anxiety that prevents you from breaking away from your comfort zone. What he talks about is many people wish to do things, and they can see what they want to do. The thing is, what happens, they try something, they start to move forward, then they come to a wall. And what happens, they talk themselves out because there's fear, they go back to the comfort zone to where they were. They start again, they come to this wall, they have fear, anxiety, again they come back to the wall. What happens, another time they come to a wall, they have fear and anxiety. They realize the fear and anxiety exists, but it's not as bad as it seems, and they cross this wall. And they find something new, they live a life without fear. Although the fear and anxiety still exists, they realize that basically it's something that it's being magnified. It's not that you always will have fear and anxiety in anything you try new. When you make a change in life, for example, moving to a new city, going to a new school, starting a new job, starting a new career. Many people, years ago thought you started one career, you work 40 years, and you're set. Nowadays, many people work multiple careers. It's always the fear and anxiety of the future, but the thing is, don't give into it. Realize when it's magnified and know when to move past it. And this video on YouTube is a wonderful video that I recommend others to see. Another person who I saw The Power of Myth on PBS and read 2 of his books, The Hero of a Thousand Faces and The Power of Myth, Joseph Campbell. His most famous phrase is "follow your bliss." What does that mean? Well, in following your bliss, it means doing things that you like to do. Sure, there are things that you have to do, but also do things that you want to do. Do the job you want to do. You'll find a way to succeed. Do the project you want to do. You'll find a way to succeed. It's not easy, but what happens, you will succeed, and it's challenging, and the thing is, you'll get great enjoyment from it. The second phrase, used by Bob Proctor, is originated by Joseph Campbell. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure that you seek. What that means is, although people wish to move forward, they see the cave and the treasure. They know the treasure's inside there, but they don't wish to go in because, again, the headlight theory. They can't see all the way in. They don't know what comes at the next step. Some people, to get past that, call it a leap of faith. Some people have confidence or overcoming fear. But the thing is, you have to trust. You have to just trust what you can see immediately from your headlights, and just go point to point, and you'll succeed. The Earth was circumnavigated by dead reckoning, point to point, just by starlight and by what they could see on the horizon, as well as mapping. The United States was first crossed by car by headlights, and many people drive long distances each night just by only seeing what they see on the headlights of their car. The other point of Joseph Campbell is the dragons we fight are not physical, but consist of "thou shalt not." A paraphrase. Many people think in medieval times dragons included physical animals, but it also is philosophical. It was dragons in the person's mind, psyche, or belief. For example, at first, science was considered a dragon. People say, well, we don't need to know additional science. The ancient works are plenty. Or another thing is basically questioning, like, for example, anatomy. Many people thought Galen's work was very seminal on anatomy. Yes, it is. But however, many people in modern anatomy realized that they had to get actual exploration and verification. You need to test an idea, test a project. Test an invention. If you know test something you're going to make, see if it's better. Just don't argue about it and think about philosophical arguments. Test it. And on this one, the video on YouTube I'd recommend is basically B equals all lowercase UTT, capital P, 42, lowercase a, capital Y, 9, lowercase o, on Joseph Campbell, Folly of Bliss, and The Journey of the Hero. In music, the idea of expressing yourself in glowing is expressed by many artists. For example, Shania Twain. She's is one artist I like. She's been through a lot and she's overcome a lot, and I and others give her credit for it. One song that I always like is Blue Eyes, Blue Tears. I'd rather die standing than living on my knees. And also find your self-esteem and be forever free to dream. That's important. What happens, the idea of living out of fear, and also basically getting past thou shalt not. When you realize those two things, you can achieve many things no matter what anything happens. For your family, for yourself, for those you love. The Dixie Chicks made a statement basically in regards to what one of the thoughts were, and some fans really, or I shouldn't say fans, but some people who claimed to be fans but really weren't, did many different things, like threatening letters, actually destroying discs, records, blacklisting songs and everything. What happens, Dixie Chicks, they used positive energy. Rather than address things negatively, they took it in positive when they wrote the song, I'm Not Ready to Make Nice. And part of the most important lyrics I thought of the song is, I'm through with doubt, it turned my whole world around, and I like it. And the reason why is because it shows that basically some people would have caved in and given it. But the thing is, that when someone challenges you and you overcome a challenge, it does turn your life on, does make your life better. But they did it in a positive way. They gave others hope on how to keep going, even when challenged and when threatened. And the YouTube video I'd recommend for this is B equals G, capital Q, capital E, lowercase I, lowercase v, lowercase a, lowercase q, capital U, lowercase x, capital H, uppercase E. And this is the performance that they gave at the Grammys. The reason why is because you can see the audience participation, how well the audience received it, because sometimes it's important to see what the actual audience perceives when someone says something or when something is said. One artist from Nashville, Taylor Swift, who I've Nashville city I visited twice and always had a great time, wrote the song Me. And one phrase was, someday I'll be living in a big old city and all you're ever going to be is me. Overcoming those who lie or who are pathetic or attack the weaker person is something always to do. Remember, everyone has moments where they may not be the strongest. They may feel weak. They may feel vulnerable. But people who attack people who are vulnerable, or attack, basically in numbers greater, in big groups against one person, those are cowards. And the thing is, what happens in Taylor Swift's song, the way she fights cowards is basically, mentioned in the song, is by keeping a positive spirit, keeping a positive vision, and following through with that vision. Overcoming your fear, moving past the barriers, moving past thou shalt not. Lady Gaga, she's a great artist who I have multiple albums with. And what happens, basically she's challenged many conventional views, and it's good. And other people are starting to see as well. And the one YouTube I'd like to mention is from her Las Vegas special, the Venus video, which is V equals capital F, lowercase q, capital G, capital U, lowercase a, lowercase c, lowercase d, capital A, 3, Y, lowercase, capital E. And also Born This Way performed on the Grammys, which is lowercase x, capital I, 0, capital N, 7, uppercase J, uppercase M, 3, lowercase w, uppercase C, lowercase k. Both these videos show what have the vitality. And the important thing about vitality with drive is that allows anyone or any group to achieve. And part of expressing yourself is to maintain your vitality, drive, and confidence. Or the criteria that Clara Boothe Luce, the first woman of Time magazine and the first woman of a major news magazine, said in the 1940s. You have to have egotism, isolation, drive, confidence, and vitality to achieve. And it's always a struggle to keep it up, but you can do it yourself, and you can expand it to others, and also friends help you as well. The thing is, what happens, anything you do will always have a challenge, because some people don't want change because they want people to stay in a certain mindset, stay in a certain position, stay in a certain caste, not move forward. Basically, almost like basically a two-class society. The postmodern world is a forward-moving society. Anyone can move and achieve no matter where they start. And the important thing to do this is to keep the attitude and a positive attitude. Katy Perry, a contemporary of Lady Gaga, although some say basically she's nicer in some of the videos than Lady Gaga, I think both complement each other. For example, California Girls with Snoop Dogg, the video capital F, 5'7", capital P, 9, capital C, 4, capital S, capital A, capital W, capital 4, and Dark Horse with Juicy J. 0, capital K, capital S, capital O, capital M, capital A, 3, capital Q, capital B, capital U, 0, and Hot and Cold. On all these on YouTube, lowercase k, T, capital H, capital N, lowercase p, lowercase u, lowercase s, lowercase q, 654. All three videos talk about overcoming anxiety. For example, California Girls. What would happen if you were put in a different situation where it's completely new? How would you still find a way out of the situation? How would you still be able to use what you have and use what's available to get out of it, and still maintain a positive perspective? For example, that video shows meeting a few friends and each helping each other, and eventually they all come together and they succeed. Dark Horse. That video talks about what does it mean to have confidence and vitality, and knowing that, and how that you can help others and lead others. Hot and Cold is about basically breaking through your comfort zone. For example, it starts at a wedding where basically the groom is asked, do you accept, and the groom is rather reluctant, and the fiance realizes that the groom has a panic moment, and what happens to overcome that panic moment, the person mentions you can't keep being hot and cold, and it's done stylishly very well. But the important point is what happens in times of decisions. You do have a hot and cold moment, but the thing is, choose the hot choice. Move forward. Move out of your anxiety and fear. David Byrne with Talking Heads, a group I liked in the 80s, and also who I read his book. He said the most important part of his career is how he made his career and helped others was opportunity and timing. He saw opportunities and timing and he used them at the same time. It's important. Sometimes it's not a big sign like this. Sometimes it's just a small ad. Sometimes it's just calling someone. But basically, take advantage of it then. Do it now. Don't wait. Success is based on opportunity timing. A paraphrase of thought expressed by myself. of what David Byrne wrote in his book. But an example of this is the video "And She Was," which is on YouTube, which is underscore capital Z lowercase l f lowercase l 6 capital H 1 lowercase d capital X lowercase q capital A. In this video, what happens? He talks about someone who has a vision, and once she overcomes her anxiety, fear, thou shalt not, she metaphorically uses flying above the homes or flying in the air. Well, actually she is, because basically in the mind's eye, and what she's achieving, she has left the ground. She's not constrained to just the ground. She can fly, take any path she wishes, and that's what happens when you do use opportunity timing along with expressing yourself. To contact me, I have different ways. One is through my website at Kanecki Art, KANECKI art.webs.com, or the site is also linked through Twitter at ampersand Diana1A. I'd like to thank you for allowing me to speak today. And remember, the first step is the most important. And the first breakout trip, do it. Thank you again.